Hello, everyone. Welcome to the episode of the BG Show. Today, I want to talk about Batman Forever. Today is the 29-year, I think yesterday was the 29-year anniversary of the movie's release. And one of my, I guess you can say, guilty pleasure movies growing up, but really one of my favorite Batman iterations, period. Really, I think it's totally underrated. And I know there's issues with the movie, but I just want to talk about a little bit about it. I feel like the movie doesn't get talked about enough. Um, and, in general, especially from the Val Kilmer perspective. So let me just get into it. I guess spoiler warning if you haven't seen Batman Forever, or maybe you're a little bit younger. At this point, there probably are people who haven't seen it. I'd go back and watch it. It's on Max. This is your spoiler warning. But getting into it, I think Val Kilmer is so underrated as Batman, both from a Bruce Wayne's perspective and a Batman's perspective. I think he's great as Batman. I think he's got a great Batman voice. I think he's honestly significantly better than Christian Bale. I've been saying this for a long time. Yes, Christian Bale's movies are better, but when you just think about the Batman performance, I think Val Kilmer's way better. I think he's a really, really good Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is supposed to be. Um, I'd never, and again, I'm not trying to shit on Christian Bale, but I just think I never kind of like that doom and gloom kind of performance where he's super depressed, which makes sense. He's kind of like a depressed billionaire, but I like Val Kilmer's perspective more, where he's kind of like he's serious, but he knows how to treat different people. When he's talking to Jim Carrey's character, he realizes he's kind of a nerd and kind of quiet, so he kind of adjusts his personality. That's kind of how I always saw Bruce Wayne. He's kind of like emotionally intelligent like that. He kind of knows who he's dealing with. He's not just rich and confident, but he's also kind of like in tune, which I think makes him a good character. He was always like that in the animated series, which I always liked about him. Um, and then going into the other things, I just love the aesthetic of the movie. I know at the time that wasn't something that people loved, but I think looking back on it now, it has that 90s aesthetic, which I love being a 90s kid. It's so, um, every single set has like a very particular feel to it. It's very goofy. Obviously, the Jim Carrey part isn't the best Riddler iteration, but just getting Tommy Lee Jones, um, Alfred was always great. I just really, really love this movie. The henchmen, just the classic henchman scenes where they're fighting, and Robin. People never really liked this version of Robin. I always kind of liked the suit. I thought he was kind of corny, but also kind of cool. And I think a big thing about going back and looking at these 90s movies is now that we've gotten the Nolan version, it's taken so much pressure off these 90s movies because at the time we still hadn't gotten like such a good Batman movie. We hadn't gotten The Dark Knight, and that's what people wanted. Now that we've gotten it, we can go back and watch the 90s movies with a lot less pressure and just be like, okay, these are pretty good. Um, where ranking it among the four, I don't think I'd put it. I got. I don't know. It's so tough for me to rank the original movies because putting this ahead of Batman '89 is kind of crazy. I don't think I can do it. But when you go back and watch Batman '89, it's kind of worse than this movie, which is weird. It has a more '80s aesthetic, which I like. That it kind of shifts, but it's kind of a worse movie when you just think of the set pieces and what goes on. I kind of like this movie more. Um, Even as a kid, I recognized this as like a trippy movie before I even knew what a trippy movie was. Just a scene where they put the thing on their head and they kind of zap them with the Riddler's like thing. I thought was really cool. Um, all of his gadgets, Jim Carrey's the Riddler's gadgets, I thought were cool. He has those twist up toy bombs, really really cool. I don't want to say practical. Yeah, I guess you can say practical effects. I always really really like those. Honestly, when I was thinking about this movie too, and bringing it back to the Batman with Paul Dano's Riddler, I didn't really love that iteration of the Riddler. I got to be honest. I didn't like how they kind of turned him into kind of Jigsaw mixed with Kevin Spacey from Seven. I didn't like that. I liked the Riddler. I didn't want a Jigsaw Riddler. I wanted a Riddler who was a little bit goofier, who really, really got into the riddles and kind of made you think, which I think they did somewhat of a good job with the Falcone and the Rat and all that. Um, but man, the more I think about that Batman movie, I really, really don't like it. And I did a review on it, and I'm probably gonna have to review it again because I'm still itching. And this is why I'm frustrated is now we're not gonna get a Riddler probably for a while, and I didn't like that version, and so now I'm gonna have to wait who knows how long for another Riddler version because it seems like we keep getting the Joker, but not enough Riddler.